you know, what they look like from the inside. I have not actually been able to see it like this before since, yeah, let's do that. Let's do that. I'm having trouble with my English today, but we'll persevere. God. Hey guys, welcome back to DMAC Customs. Dave here in the garage under the Area 51 for a change. Yeah, this week while the weather's holding out, I've got the chassis out there and I want to get under here and try and get as much of this done as possible while I can get the chassis, keep the chassis outside, and hopefully get the underside of this thing all in epoxy etch. So we've got a couple of things we have to get done to be able to get that far. So let's get at it. Okay, so as you can probably see, we've got a lot of wire wheeling and kind of rust converting and a little bit of welding and a little bit of cleanup and stuff to do on things, a lot of surfacey crap like that. Ooh, yuck. So yeah, it's gonna be a dirty job this week, but it's got to be done, you know what I'm saying? Some of it will come up pretty easy, some of it is going to be difficult to say the least. Some of it's just been left so long and left to kind of flash off and get all that, you know, scaly crappy shit in that on there. It's going to take quite a bit cleaning up. I've just noticed one of my fender skirt holes is a bit skew on this side as well. I'm just wondering whether I weld them both up completely and re-drill them and probably get them in the wrong place again, and then we'll have to weld them up again, and you know what I'm saying. Or do I just waller out those holes? And I don't know, I'll figure that out when we get to it, but to start with, I've got a bit of cleanup and that to do before I go too far. Already kind of started on a bit of wire wheeling and sanding and stuff up on there just to see how it would come up. Not too bad. And I've been and bought a new wire wheel attachment for the old grinder. You can see that sitting up on the bench over there. But it's still quite early yet, so I don't want to be firing up the grinder on the old neighbours just at this point. So I might try and do some quieter stuff for a little bit, and then we'll hook into the real dirty messy shit. Not quite sure where I'll start. I might have a look at these fender skirt holes and see if I have to weld those up. I will get those underway. I might grab those out and see how they're going to fit. Actually, I can have a look at them from the inside for the first time ever. Okay, so this is the fender skirts on, you know, what they look like from the inside. I have not actually been able to see it like this before since I built these and did all that sort of modificating and stuff. This one fits in nice and tight. There's a little bit of hammering in there I've got to do on this and tidy up shit like that, obviously, and hammer these a bit more. These lap joints are a bit more kind of flush, but you can see there's an air gap there around most of it. That's to allow for the rubber that's going to go on around that skirt. It's fairly consistent most of the way around. That side there is slightly better. So this one here though, I've got to address that. Like I need to weld, just fill in this locator hole in there a little bit. So I might do that first up, and then kind of maybe sort of hammer the lap joints and that up and get those a bit tidied up before I kind of move on to all of this stuff. Yeah. Good times. Right. Oh, excuse me. Still getting over that cold. That's just punishing this one. Alright, so I'm just gonna fill that out a little bit and then maybe get in there with a die grinder or something. I'm going to use the TIG though, so it's a little bit softer, and yeah, pretty straightforward really, but it's something I've been meaning to do for ages. The other thing I've got to do is trim up these other things. We'll get to that later. So let's get the TIG fired up. We might do it actually. All I'm trying to do is stop the fender skirt coming forward a little bit, so once I flush that out and maybe just get a little round file and just sort of smooth it out a little bit, it should be all good. With that in mind, I want to just have a look at the other side and see how far out that is. That one's kind of a bit messy looking and I wouldn't mind trying to tidy it up. Can I? Let's go and have a look-see. Okay, so I'm back. Just give that a bit of a quick fill, and was doing the other side and got totally sidetracked over there, like refitting the the fender skirt, so it kind of fit up nicer. And yeah, so I'm back. So what I've done over there, I'm going to do over here now. So where's my Emma? Okay, so that's better. It doesn't sort of rattle around quite as much. Once the rubbers and that go in there, that'll tighten all this up a bit more as well. So yeah, hey, finally, been meaning to do that for about 2 years. Alright, so what I'm doing here is I'm just starting to get warm. Just trying to kind of even out the gap, and this tipped edge on this skirt was kind of tipped in a bit further, so what I do is to kind of knock it back, rather than hitting metal against metal, I'm hitting there, so I'm like working my way along it, sort of tap 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 tap, and putting pressure against this, so pushing that part over as I hit it, just squaring it up a little bit. And then if you get a little bit ripply, then you can go and sort of hammer it metal on metal, which will stretch it, by the way. So just bringing this up just a scooch. It's not much, and by the time, like I say, by the time we get that rubber in there, it'll even out that gap quite a bit, I hope. Yeah, that's better. Much better. Right, so that's me messing around with fender skirts done for today anyway. I wanted to get rid of that. I wanted to get this inner lip stuff kind of done as part of this underfloor clean up and prep, because I don't want to be doing any more welding and grinding on this lip once I've kind of done all the underfloor stuff. I just want to be doing epoxy and a little bit of filler and then painting at Moma Jam. So there we have it. This stuff up here. You know what I'm saying? I guess the camera was just pointed at my knee or something just then, but what I was saying was I just wanted to get this inner fender lip finished up. As far as welding and grinding and things like that goes, I've still got a little bit of clean up along this edge, even it out. And then it'll get seam sealed along with all the underfloor stuff. This lap joint, I'll seam seal all that and just make sure that no water can kind of get trapped in there, because we'll be getting rust proofing stuff sprayed down inside these cavities as well, if you know what I'm saying. So yeah, that's that bit pretty much done, I think, for now, hopefully. I'm just going to give it a bit of a grind up along the edge and just smooth it out a little bit. This bit here is a bit ugly, but it'll be alright once it's sort of sealed up. I wonder if I can hammer it back, but anyway, carry on, move ahead. Thanks for watching, and if you haven't subscribed and you're still watching at this point and you haven't subscribed, so come on, what's wrong with you? Get over there, hit the button, like, share, comment, all that kind of malarkey. Okay, so I'm just tidying up the trimmage on these step notch relief sort of thing. When I did it originally, I just kind of hacked them out. Now I just got to kind of even them up so they're a bit tidier. That's one side done. While I'm over here grinding, I should probably try and nip out some of these things. A bit ugly. Alrighty, so that's those things trimmed up. Actually, one of them's a little bit crooked across the top there, if you can see that. I have to get in there with the old flap tack and give it a bit of a clean up. But I was having a little bit of an experiment around with, you know, trimmed off some of that bit of lap joint that's a bit rubbish, and then this is what I'm kind of going for, just to clean up some of these ugly areas and stuff that I've left behind. And so that's kind of on the agenda, but I might kind of go through and sort of go through with the hardcore wire wheeling on everything before I go that far, just so I can hopefully, you know, not going to be messing around with all rusty old shit forever. So I want to kind of wire wheel it up, clean it up as best I can, and then I'll do all the kind of final welding and stuff. Like I found a hole up in there that I don't know why that's there. I think it might have been a spot weld I drilled out, and I've just got to fill that up. And there's some holes up under there I've got to fill up that I think I've talked about before. Finish up a few plug welds and that on these braces, which will be next up. Clean up some of the welds from the back side, underside. There's a little bit of welding I need to do down here. Got a bit of daylight showing through, so I might just kind of wire wheel that up and put a few little plug ups from the inside. That way I'm not grinding into, you know, pretty thin steel already back under there. So that's my plan. So, but I'm chewing through the batteries already on the whole power tool, so I'll get going with what I've got until I've flattened all my batteries, and then I'll find something else to do while I'm waiting for all them to charge up again. I don't like using the plug-in grinder on this sort of thing, because it is savage, man. It gets hooked on something and it is just a way, it'll rip it out of your hands, and then it'll get tangled up in your hoodie and all hell breaks loose, and it destroys the little wire wheel things super quick. So yeah, let's do that. Let's do that. I'm having trouble with my English today, but we'll persevere. God. Alright, I went and was in the hardware store looking for more wire wheel stuff the other day. Came across these getting specialed off because of the these are these fancy pants N95 or whatever they're called. N95s, yeah, that everyone was harping on about during the old pandemic, and I'm telling everyone they're the only ones that have, and so folk were like charging like $30 each for them at one stage, and I got a box of 20 for $10. Yep. So and they're just trying to get rid of them because they got too much stock. Didn't need them. Okay, so I have to use the Viper because I bought the wrong sized thing and it won't bolt on to my battery grinders. So yeah, I'll brace myself. I roll the gauntlets just because it's dangerous using that little sucker, but God, it's hard to breathe in these bloody things. Oh, Emma. Oh well. Oh, here goes. Check that out, it's just snapped off all of these things. Most of them are embedded in my t-shirt and my jeans, and some of them in my arm. But yeah, when they wear out, they just wear out. But it's still got room for flat surfaces as it is, so I'll just keep going. Holy, it's such a dirty job. I've got rust, dust and flaky paint in my pockets, little bits of wire embedded all through my clothes, and yeah, completely destroyed that brand new cut thing, wire wheel cut thing. But they work quite good, those finer ones, until they don't, and they just kind of disintegrate. But yeah, they kind of like take a lot of that fine surface rust and stuff off, and paint and shit like that, whereas these heavier ones, I don't know, I really could would like something kind of halfway in between the heavy and the fine. You probably can get them, but the shop I went to the other day didn't have them, so that's what I used. But man, that thing is destroyed. It's all over the ground. Look at that, little bits of wire from that thing just everywhere. So I hate working in that kind of crap, so before I go any further, I'm going to have a bit of a sweep up and blow the shit out of my nose that managed to get past my N95 particulate respirator. If it can't stop rust dust, I can't see how they would have stopped microscopic viruses. So anyway, just a thought. Clean up, what a mess. Ain't much left of that. Righty, so that's all the wire wheeling I'm going to be doing under here, because man, that sucks. But down here, the back stuff, it looked a lot worse than it actually was. It's kind of, it had some kind of like probably factory paint or undercoating or something on there, and that was kind of what was making it look pretty scody. On camera still looks pretty scody, I think, but scody's like a, I don't know, Kiwi term for scruffy, ugly, not very good looking. But I found a bit of swollen stuff here. The wire wheel kind of opened that up into there. It seems to be just on the inner guard side, so I'm going to cut that out, make a little patch, weld that in. And I found another one here, so I'm going to cut that out, weld a little patch in there. Then I've got to go around and probably going to have to put a patch or something in here. I could probably try and, it's quite thin. I could maybe drill it out. It seems to just be isolated to a couple of spots. These holes here, these look like they were matching up with what was there, some kind of repair or something that was done at some point where they maybe had to punch up some holes and try and lever out the guard or something like that. I've got to drill out a couple of these as well and re-tap them. So exciting. But before, what am I going to do first? Because I've still got to kind of grind back all this and tidy up all of that. And so it's not too bad. Some of it's done already. Yeah, tidy up some of this. Just grind down some of existing welds and stuff like that, and just kind of make them a little bit more presentable. And then I've got do a bunch more welding and stuff on the new stuff. It's just whether I grind back what's started now, because I've got to drill some more holes in that brace up there and plug weld on this side, and weld back all that. This wasn't me, by the way, but that'll clean up alright. It's a bit boogery, but I'll get in there with the power file and bring all that down to a nicer sort of finish, so that looks a bit nicer from underneath. And yeah, just now that the batteries are all charged up, I should be able to go and do a bit of grinding. There's a little patch being put in here. Maybe just tidy that up a little bit from the other side. There's another one further back there that I did somewhere ages ago. It just needs a little bit of a grind up from the underside just to make it a little bit more presentable. Mind you, it's going to be under the petrol tank there, but that doesn't matter. I'll still make it look right. And yeah, so I guess I might start with cutting out these swollen bits here, see if I can get them to cut out nicely, and then I can clean them up and put some weld through primer and that in behind them and stuff like that before I weld them in. You know what I'm saying? So what do I want? What do I start with? I'll start with this one. This one looks like it might be a bit of a pain, possibly. And yeah, I will cut a wee piece out of there and cut a wee piece to go in there. Need a grinder. Alright, grinder. What is it? This. Oh, yeah, cut that out. Hopefully they'll be able to see this and not just the back of my arm or whatever, but we'll see how we go. Ugh. Okay, so I went in and kind of cleaned that up a little bit more and sprayed some more of that gold shit on there. Been around and doing a bit of grinding and whatnot of some of these old fill-ins and that here, and done some welding up in there, and just got some pinholes to kind of chase around. But before I do any more on chasing pinholes, I'm going to cut a couple of little patches, one for there and a couple bits for over here, so I can get those kind of reconstructed. So let's do that, find some offcuts and yeah, make some stuff. Yeah, old guy noises. Alright, drop my pen, put that over there somewhere safe. Go. Ow. Yeah. Oh, that hurt. It rattled my brain a little bit. So I'm going to weld a little piece in there before I can weld that sort of outer piece on. It's just really a bit for like a pinch weld kind of thing. So I'll get onto that before we do the next bit. Okay, just tacked it in. Forgot to turn you guys on, but well, forgot to turn the camera on. I don't know. It sounded real weird, but anyway, just going to tack this in and decide which direction I'll weld it from. Okay, right, so this is where we're at. Oh, hang on, just got this thing tangled up. Just gonna cut a wee patch to go in there, put some of that weld through etch on there, and obviously you saw welding that little thing in there that I can pinch it up to. I'll probably put a little plug in there as well. Been going around doing a little bit of grinding with the old power file and whatnot in a few places, just getting ahead. And yeah, but for now the task at hand is to ground down those big boogeries. They need a little bit more. They might be alright. Might just leave them once I get some under seal and stuff on there. They'll be all good. Got to do some plug welds in here yet, but yeah, so I've just got to cut a little patch for that, and then we'll weld that in. Got a little cut that patch for over there. Kind of cleaned up over there. I'm not sure if I showed you or not, but it was a bit kind of huckery in that, so I kind of ground it all out and sort of filled it up with a bit of weld, and then I've got to make a little patch to go in there as well. Been back and chased some of the pinholes and stuff and some of these as well. Done that, and yeah, just kind of trim back some of that so I can get in there with the grinder and smooth all this out and hopefully make it look a little bit more presentable. So let's cut this little patch. God, it's hard, yeah. I haven't been doing a whole lot of filming because it's not really the most easiest environment to work in underneath here, and try and film some stuff and show you what I'm kind of mucking around with. Hang on, I'll cut this down to size. So I'll cut there and there. Just use the old eyeball. That's what that crash was I heard earlier. It was me knocking the tin snips for a 6. That's quite thick, this stuff actually. Yeah. Where's my hammer? Pen. Yeah. A bit of a twisty twist on it. Yeah, that should probably do us. Be close enough, I think. little dog yapping in the background. Yeah, that she does. Right, I'll squirt a bit of that etch on the back of that, and I'll go and make the one for the other side. Well, it's not really etch, it's just weld through primer. Alrighty, so just going to weld this in quickly and weld that other one in quickly, and then we can carry on with the grinding and cleaning up and whatnot, and hopefully that's the last of the rust stuff. That was a bit of a pain finding those. I thought I was kind of done with that shit, but never to mind. What I thought is a bit of crap built up in there. Ooh, screwdriver. There's my little patch, there it is. That's just got to go in, not like that, just like that. Oh, I've got to drill a hole in this, forgot about that. Damn it. Oh, I'll do that, drill some holes so I can plug weld those as well, forgot all about that. Oh, wind's getting up, smacked my head again. But yeah, I think I might have blown up my big lead lamp that I have under here. I kind of pushed it out of the way and it kind of went pop and then didn't go no more. Didn't blow this fuse for that circuit, but yeah, so down to my little wish light. Might actually be better. I haven't got that many plug welds to do back here. Actually, this is actually all secured, you know, probably about every 2 inches all the way along on this original part, and along here it's probably only one short on this side and maybe 4 on this side. So I'm just gonna quickly plug those up, and I've been doing a bit of grinding around, smoothing out these sort of edges on here and around these reliefs. I've got to get in there with the power file and get into the corners a little bit, but on the whole it's pretty much done. I've got to get in here and clean that up, that stuff there, and a little bit, not so much on the other side. There's a plug up that little hole there, and just clean up those little tacks and that as well, just make them look a bit nicer. Welded that in, ground it back, kind of uneventful really, and welded that in, ground it back, kind of uneventful as well, but that's alright, would rather it was uneventful. And well, after that, after we finished in this cavity down here and under here, I think we'll go back under there, a couple of little bits to clean up in there, a little bit of welding to do in there, and then getting close to done under here. Well, kind of stuff, some stuff getting close to done anyway. Still a lot more to go. Right, so I'll just plug these things up and yeah, move on. Whoa, man, oh man, oh man. Where are we at? This is where we're at. Been sitting in awkward positions like this for hours and hours, pretty much all day. But we have gone through, I think, everything I wanted to do under here as far as metalwork and shit like that goes, and wire wheeling and stuff. I'm shattered. I think it's just because it's such an awkward, like, it's better than doing it on a creeper on the floor on your back, only just. But yeah, I've kind of gone in and tidied a couple of things up and ground and filled in a few holes. Those plug welds didn't actually need to be plugged in because it's all plugged from the top, but they're just for aesthetics. I thought I'd fill them in and get a few more burns and stuff like that. I've been through and, you know, tidied up all these edges and that now, in the tunnel and in these reliefs. And what else did we do? Oh, I just cleaned up a bit of stuff up the back there where we extended the roll pan, re-welded those pieces, the little bits of daylight I could see through there. Done our repairs up under there. What else have I been doing? I feel like I've been here for ages. Oh, just grinding up a couple of bits under here that needed a bit of doing to. What else have we got? Oh, I re-welded up under there just to tidy it up. It was all just kind of stitched really messily. Some of it still is, but I'll seam seal it and that'll tidy it up. But it's struck, like it's got plenty of weld in there. It's just it's not the prettiest. Battling a bit with old, you know, sort of surface rust and steel, and just some of it is so thin. So this floor pan is anyway, but it should be alright. I'll thicken it up with 50 layers of paint and stuff. Yeah, so we're kind of at the give it all a clean stage and blow some rust fix converter stuff all over the joint. Did my plug welds and stuff up under here, cleaned up all these other bits as far as I want to take them, hammered up some of the joints a bit more, and yeah, bunch of stuff really. But that's where I'm going to leave it for today. I'll have a bit of a clean up and sweep up and stuff, and then get out here tomorrow and throw some rust fix around the place and get some etch on it, I reckon. Just some grey etch like we've done up the front, and then that'll be the underfloor all primed up, ready for seam sealer, hopefully. Bunch of belts, a couple of them only lasted like a couple of rotations, and so then that spat them out. Look at those three there, they just hardly used it all before they broke. Disappointing. There's about 6 belts there, 7. And that one wore out. That was a good one. He got a good life, that one. Bloody belt snapping power file. It's awesome, but it's a pain in the ass. Alright, carry on cleaning up. Alright, tucked away for tonight. See you tomorrow. Hey guys, next day. So as you can tell, cleaned myself up a little bit. So back at it under here. We are very close to being able to get some rust fix on there and some etch primer. Yeah, what a day yesterday was, man. Dirty, dusty, horrible work, but I'm so glad the worst of that is done with. It was tough. Even broke my earmuffs, like, again, so I have to do the old zip tie fix on those ones as well. I should really buy some slightly better earmuffs, but I just kind of go for the cheapest ones that are there. They're probably not really that great. Broke my light. Can't figure out how to get that apart to see what's going on with it, but probably not supposed to be able to. But anywho, let's get this chassis out the way, and got a little bit of hand sanding I might sort of do under there. I'll go and have a good look with some sort of fresh eyes and some other kind of lighting apparatus to see if I can find anything that just needs a little bit more before I start squirting some paint around. I've got to blow all the dust and crap out and wipe it down and that yet, but you know what I'm saying, eh? You know, get to that stuff, yeah. Okay, so I've been around and done all the hand sanding that I kind of want to do, getting into some sort of tighter corners that I couldn't get into with any wire wheeling and things like that, any kind of power tools. But in that process of doing all that hand sanding stuff, I found a couple of things, like bits that I forgot to grind down and stuff from ages ago that I just, well, didn't even know was there. There was some welds coming through on the inner wheel arches and stuff that from plug welds from up the top, I think. So I just kind of gave them a little bit of a with the old fucking power file belt snapper 1000. But also remembered I got to drill out those 2 broken bolts, so I'll just quickly get those done, drill and tap those. I'll clean all the threads on the other ones as well, just to, while I'm here, because I'll probably get paint and crap in them in this eventually during this process, so I'll clean them out now, and then they can be, it won't take as much to clean them out once they're painted and I'm trying to bolt stuff into them. And once I've done that, got to go around and just sort of hammer up a few joints and stuff like that, just to make sure all the seams are all nice and tight before we chuck some rust converter-y stuff on. Rust Fix, Duplicolor, not sponsored in any way. Okay, so where are we at? We have drilled and tapped, re-tapped those, cleaned out all the threads, hand sanded bits that I've got to hand sand. I've just been around with the air gun and dusted a lot of dust out of all these braces and crap like that, just to kind of get ahead of that. Final thing I'm going to do before I go around and do my rust kill stuff is just go around and sort of hammer down some of the lap joints and things like that, just to, you know, get them, like you can see there's a little, I don't know, see that there, just hammer stuff like that flush, and these aren't too bad. There's a couple of areas that could probably do with a little bit like there, just stuff like that. I'll just hammer them up a little bit more just to flushing them out. Couple of spots. I'll just run around this stuff here and just get that as flush as I can get it, so when we seam seal it, I'm not trying to like jump the Grand Canyon with the seam sealer, if you know what I'm saying. There'll be a couple of places that I will still have to do that, but you know, hopefully not as many. That's what I'm trying to say. Having trouble with my words still, but you know, I don't know where I'm going. I'll just get on with it and start hammering some stuff. Alrighty, so ready to go on my rust fix. That'll fix all the rust problems forever. Probably not, but it works pretty good at converting it to like a black etch sort of stuff. If you've followed this channel for a while, you've probably heard me harping on about it. I've been using it for years on various rusty projects, and it seems to work pretty good. I always like to, you know, kind of hit any kind of surface rusty stuff with this if I haven't got anything, you know, means to sandblast or stuff like that, because I mean that ideally sandblasting is good, but yeah, it can do damage to your panels, but it'd be great on this underside stuff. But yeah, it's just logistically a freaking nightmare for me to get this sandblasted, so I didn't. My Monaro was sandblasted already when I got it, and that was great to start with a clean slate. Well, you know, already stripped out kind of canvas like that. Wouldn't say clean, but yeah, you could see it sins right through the whole car until you started picking it apart, and then you find the rest of them. But it was really good to be able to start like that. This is kind of similar. It's mostly been stripped back to a degree, but yeah, just kind of not sealed up again, which is what's created a lot of these like problems, you know, years down the track sort of thing. The car had, this is 51, had sat for, I think he said about 7 years or something in the state that I got it in. So in undercover in a garage, so that was good. But yeah, the sort of moisture in the air kind of flashed off a lot of areas, and then there's a lot of shit that I should have sealed up that I didn't when I did it, thinking it wouldn't be as long before I was back in here. Like the back of this sort of thing, I should have sprayed this before I left it, you know, and it would have created, you know, less work for me if I'd done that. But anyhow, enough yabbering. I'm going to squirt this stuff around. There's my mask. I'm going to wear a mask, because I don't know how good this stuff is in your lungs. Probably not the greatest, especially when you got a bunch of rust dust already in there. You don't want that converting to an etch primer in your lungs. It's probably not good for you at all. Yeah, so let's get at it. Hopefully one can's enough, otherwise I've got to go and get some more. Here's my light. This is my light. Yeah. There you go, high speed. There you go. Right, so ran out, of course, of the old rust fix. Probably bin that can now. Yep. So I just had to shoot out and grab some more. Fortunately, yesterday was a public holiday, today is not. So yeah, got a couple more cans which should see us through this particular task. It's a pain in the backside when you I was supposed to grab some more the other day, because it sort of sucks when you run out of something part way through and you got to go and stop, and it just sucks up time and stuff like that. I'll need my other hand to get this off. So I'll carry on. I'll get the rest of it done, and then I'll bring yours back in. And alrighty, so I got managed to get like, what do you call it, sparkles from grinding and stuff hitting the lens of the camera at some point. I've got a lens protector on there now, so hopefully it's not all messed up. I have got a little bit of metal embedded in the lens of this camera from when I didn't have a protector on there, so you'll quite often see like a little lens flare. It looks like I put some sort of Photoshop effect on there, but nah, I just got stuff stuck in there. But anyway, back to the task at hand. It's all that rust fix sprayed all over the place. I've been around giving it 2 coats, so I'm just going to let that kind of set up, do its thing, and then we'll get in there and blast some etch on there. Yeah boy. And then that's the whole underfloor in etch primer. Choice, eh? See? Looks pretty scody still, but you know, it's a bit motley looking, but once we get that primer on there, it'll sort of even it all out, and it'll be one shade of grey, and it'll look much tidier. Alrighty, that was just one knee crack that time. Right, so that's all second coated now. Done 2 coats on all the from that bracing back, and there's 2 coats on all the front stuff as well from the last video on underfloor carry on and stuff. So next up on the agenda for all of this under here is I'm going to have to get under there and seam seal all the lap joints, and I usually seam seal behind any welds and that I've done, just to kind of fill up any little pinholes that I've missed, which you always find after once you get it into primer and stuff. So I tend to just use a brush on seam sealer, so we'll get into that next. But yeah, super stoked that this is all done, this horrible job that I've been avoiding, all this underfloor stuff is now, it's done. The dirty part of it is anyway. There's still a bit more painting and crawling around under there doing stuff to go, but it's all kind of clean dirt, not dirty dirt, and so yeah, pretty happy about that. What next? I don't know what next. Probably get back in here and do the seam sealer and stuff like that. Either that, or I'll do the inner floor, the inside floor into the stage. But it'd be good to just get this underfloor stuff done, and then I'm kind of finished under here, and then can maybe move on to the chassis or something like that, onto the firewall. Sorry, I don't know. I need new filters for my mask. Yeah. So yeah, happy as that's done. But that's where we're going to leave this video. I'm not going to do any more on this today. I've sort of had enough. And yeah, so if you haven't subscribed, make sure you get on there and subscribe and do the right thing and help a brother out. Also, thanks for all the supporters and people who kind of follow the channel and kind of contribute and comment and give advice and stuff. It's all good. It's all appreciated. And but don't always take it. Don't always get the advice until after it's too late, because some of these videos come out a couple of weeks after I've actually done the work, and sometimes the advice comes a little too late. But that's alright, like it's still appreciated. So just keep up the comments and like, share, tell your friends, all that kind of stuff. And yeah, till next time, take it easy, peace.